folks, welcome again. This is session number 2 out of 6. Where today we're going to talk about, am I centered?
Yeah, there you go.
Today we're going to talk about the standing shooting. So I will start with the new term that you may or may not heard so far. It is external position versus internal position. So the external position is the position of your bones. This is what I can see as a coach. Like, it's very easy to see. The internal position, on the contrary, is how basically the tension of your muscles. I cannot see it very well. I can predict some of that sometimes, but it is mostly up to you to estimate your internal position and make it correct. We'll talk about how it should be in particular for the standing shooting. So we start with the external position for the standing shooting. So you start with the feet. The feet is the thing which is like, you don't miss it. It's important. This is our very first thing to set up. The good starting point is like the feet are more or less parallel each other. They are aligned to the line of sight and about at the shoulder width. This is just a starting point. You will see the top of the biathletes, they may change it slightly. I've seen people do something like this, so they put their feet at the angle to the shoulder line. If it works for you, go ahead, but like the starting point is just align it with the line of sight. Then your feet, your legs. Legs should be straight. Oftentimes I've seen do mistakes, something like they put the wrong position of the feet and they try to compensate it with the leg. If I see this, one of the leg is twisted or the other leg is twisted, this is wrong, because your straight limbs are stronger and more stable. So straight legs. Now your hips. In the books that I've seen, they say not only the hips should be parallel to the line of sight, they should be parallel to the line of sight, exclamation mark. So like don't twist like this. So it should be parallel to the line of sight. Then your left hand, if you're a right-handed person, you find the bone, which is I think called hip crest bone or something like that. So you put your elbow to there. So this is where you like rest the weight of your rifle. And the rifle goes on top of that. That's about it. So how you handle the rifle with the left hand. In the sharpshooters world, there is several variations. People do something like this, and obviously like this. So most often for biathlete, it is something like this. So now the right hand position. I already heard this question, like how high should I put my elbow? Like there is no precise recommendation. Among the top world shooters, you can see some of them are like horizontal elbow. Another one is like dropping on the chest. The third one is like something in between. So there is it's up to you. How comfortable is it for you? How comfortable specifically for breathing? Because if you breathe in, you can push your elbow and this may deviate your rifle. So that would be one reason why you want to raise the elbow a little bit higher. And this is about it for the external position. For the internal position, same thing as for prone. You should be as relaxed as possible. And typically that means, and this is hard, right? Because we are standing. If I relax, I probably collapse. So try to tension your muscle as much as necessary, but as relaxed as possible. So speaking of that, you will most likely find that the straighter you stay, the taller you try to be, the more vertical you be, the more relaxed you will be. This is very simple example. If I need to hold something like this vertically, not much effort. I can do it like almost with 2 fingers, right? If in the contrary, I need to hold it something like this, there's quite a lot of force, and I'll be tired pretty quickly. So the more vertical you are, the more efficient you are, the easier it is to maintain. Specifically for that is you try to build a column which supports your rifle. This column starts with the left foot, and it goes to your leg, then it goes to your hip, the hand, and the wrist. All of that should be as vertical and as straight as possible. For example, like I've seen people holding the wrist something like that. You can do that, but it's the same thing as holding the stick like sideways. You will require a lot of tension, a lot of muscle tightness. So if you, on the contrary, make it straight, it will be like a tripod. So try to find the position where it requires the less forces from your muscles. This is about it for the internal position. Now the breathing. Like you can breathe in with your chest, like, or breathe in with your belly. It is more recommended to use your belly, just because, for example, if you're breathing your chest, it deforms your chest, like chest rib, and it will affect your right shoulder. So it will affect the way you hold the rifle. So it will move it slightly. So yeah, so typically what we want from the breathing is several deep breaths, especially after the race. Then it makes it shallow, more shallow, more shallow. Then we hold our breath and take a shot. Make sense? Great. Now, the last thing I wanted to touch is the trigger work and how and approach to the target. So I already told this to some of you folks. Like we were evolved as humans for millions of years, and there are very little tasks in the world, in our world, that require to hold something still. And think about it. What, like the only thing I can think of is like cup of tea. This is like just if it's like completely full. Other than that, we normally deal with the moving objects. We want to run, we want to like walk, we want to carry things, we want to move things, but very little of our experience will be devoted to like hold something still. For that reason, the shooting is the hard thing for us. We are not prepared by the millions of like years of evolution. It's like a new thing for us. So we can kind of pull it to the world that we are good at. So if we cannot hold the rifle still, if it's hard, why don't we make it like pull it to the moving world? Like if, for example, we have a target and we want to not hold our rifle against it, but kind of pull it across the target. You may find it like very much easier to do rather than hold it. So some of our exercises, which I will touch later, will be devoted to that. We'll try to approach the target from the left or from the right, whatever your choice is, from the top and from the bottom. So, and by the time the rifle goes through the target while it's still moving, we should be able to take a shot. That means that we need to preload our trigger. If we like move our rifle to the target and we're like, oh, now it's time to do some trigger work with like pull it, there is some slack, then the forces increase. By the time you're ready to shoot, your rifle is already off. So you should be ready. So depending on how familiar you are with the rifle, try to preload it like 50 to 80%. So you can feel like 50 to 80%, it's almost ready to shoot, but it's not shooting yet. So this way, as soon as you move the rifle across, but as soon as you fly over it, just add a little more force and you take a shot. As easy as that. One thing I wanted to touch briefly is how do we set up the natural point of aim? And is there, like, you can think of there is no natural point of aim if you're standing, because it's like we're too free. There is like it's very hard to catch. Actually there is, and the more time you spend trying to like settle it, the less fuzzy it will be for you. But in the beginning, I agree. It will be like natural point of aim, which is not a point, but more like a big fuzzy cloud, like
area,
like roughly that direction. This is my natural point of aim. Still try to pretend this exists. Do the same thing, like put yourself into position, close your eyes, do a couple of deep breaths, open your eyes. Oh, I'm off. If I need to adjust the natural point of aim, rough like sideways. Rough adjustment can be done by repositioning your feet. Pretty straightforward, right? If you need just slightly deviated, you can use just one foot, which is like farther from the target. For example, doing something like this will twist your leg and twist your body slightly. So this is like fine tuning, right? As for like up and down, there are tons of things which will affect it. The most important are like position of left foot and position of our hips. So if we want to adjust position higher, typically what we do, if we just push the hips slightly forward, and that will push the rifle up. There is a whole like very nice table in that book, which I'll show you actually, which says like what changing different parameters, how it will affect the natural point of aim in standing position. And they will touch everything, like position of the legs, position of your elbow, position of the chickpeas, position of your butt plate, the length of the butt plate. And it will say like we'll go raising it or like putting it down. So let me see if this is the table I mean. I want to make sure it goes into the video. Hopefully you can see that. If not, I will edit as a separate thing. This is about it. Now, this is theoretical part, exercises. So we start with do normal 0 because some of you probably like you have your brand new rifle, so you never had a chance to zero it. Or if you like borrowing the rifle, same thing. You don't know what happened since last time. So we do use like pick one target, one paper target, and do our normal 0. Do 5 shots, do correction, do another 5 shots. Pretty much should be done in 10 or 15 shots. Then next thing, I want you to do the 1x10 exercise, similar to what we did last time, and except this one it will be standing, not prone. So you put your rifle on the mat or put it on the back, depending on if you like, does it have a harness or not. You stand on the mat. You start to build a position. Feet, hip, hand. Like when you're ready, take a shot, put it back, stand up. Do it 10 times. You do one shot at a time. The goal of this exercise is to make sure you have a routine set up. Like, put yourself on the mat, start with the feet, build a position, take a shot. So the more you practice, the quicker it will be.
So you take one shot 10 times?
Yeah, it will be like 2 magazines, 1 shot at a time. Every time you do the shot, you should like put the rifle on the mat, take off the mat. Next exercise would be like figuring out yourself, similar to what we did last time about breathing, but this time you pick a target and you say, I will approach the target from the bottom. Like every time before you shoot, you place the sights below, raise the rifle slightly. As soon as you go through the target, take a shot. Don't forget to preload your trigger. Do 5 shots like this. Same thing for the next target. You do it from the top to bottom. As soon as you cross it, take a shot. Don't forget to preload. Then, if you shoot the biathlon targets from left to right, do approach to the rifle from the left. If you never did it, you don't know, you can try the same from the right. So with 2 more magazines. From top, from bottom, from left, from right. And the next thing, the final thing, I want you to try to play the game of I already know that my natural point of aim is at the target. I don't pull and push my rifle. Instead, I am just calmly wait until it goes to the target. I know it will come. You just need a little bit of waiting time. It may be something that you find the most efficient. Maybe not. So it will be up to you. That's about it. Right.